Salutations everyone, this is Razor giving you guys another Overwatch gameplay, this time with your girl, Pharah, who is, I think, still a strong character. She has good strengths and some pretty exploitable weaknesses. She's a character that you don't see very much in the professional competitive scene, but when it comes to quick play and the competitive season, we still see her quite an awful lot. She's a unique character in that she is the only character with the ability for sustained flight for a decent period of time. She's an offensive character, only 200 health, no shields, no armor, so pretty easy to defeat and to counter with your hit scan weapon. Characters like Soldier 76 and McCree are pretty strong counters to her, and Genji, because he can also fly for some reason because of Dragon Strike. It goes like 10 miles, which is ludicrous. And then I get killed by a Junkrat there, which is rather embarrassing, because Pharah is like one of the counters to Junkrat because he can't shoot his projectiles at an aerial target with much accuracy. And Pharah isn't a great counter against herself because you're still using the projectile of the rockets. So if you're engaging Pharah to Pharah air-to-air combat, you're going to need a direct hit in order to have that engagement end with a kill. So she's definitely has a unique role within this game because of her unique mobility, and gotta love using the concussive shot to knock bitches into the pit of doom like I'm a female Leonidas from across the Mediterranean. And she is a character that is quite at the subject of much change, because in the PTR she's been giving nerfs and buffs. So let's go into what is going to be changed. As far as the nerfs go, they're going to decrease the knockback on her rocket, her primary fire, to 0%. So you'll no longer be able to knock someone's line of sight off with some knockback, or maybe push them into corners or push them off the ledge with your primary fire, if this PTR change just does come through. And sometimes the concussive shot's all the knockback you need, and then we get the quad feed with the triple kill ult. And Pharah is one of the characters that doesn't seem to complete her ult very often. Kind of similar to Soldiers. I would put her ult on par with Soldier 76 and how good it can be and how little impact it can have. It's very rare that you see Pharah's even complete their ult unless they have a Zarya bubble around her. So her primary fire is no longer going to be doing knockback if they decide to go with this change. So you won't be able to juggle people very much or throw them off, which makes her an easier target because you'll no longer be knocking your enemy's line of sight all over the place. And that is a shame. But to combat that, they're going to be changing her jump jets. In the PTR right now, they've increased her jump jet force by 35%, which translates to you don't have to land anymore with Pharah. You can be in the air forever if you so choose to do so, and you don't screw up on your timing. So with that ability, it makes her a more nimble opponent in the air, because you'll be going a little bit faster with your own jump jets. You'll be able to take cover more often. You'll be whether it's walls or tapestries in the way, or what have you, ruining lines of sight, ducking in and out of archways, going above them, then dipping below them, and then boosting above them again. You don't have to land with her anymore, so that she's less of a sitting duck when she lands, because typically if you're having trouble with a Pharah, you just maybe wait till she lands, and then you can take her out with a variety of different characters. And then we get another triple kill with the ult there, and we're gonna defend this objective. And the enemy Pharah, I believe that was a switched Pharah. I don't think anyone on the enemy team started with Pharah. But that's one of the things that happens, within the game. If you're doing particularly well with a character, someone on the other team will be like, man, if they're doing so well, I'm going to switch, or I'm going to be that character, when we switch sides. Sometimes that's something that happens. So she'll be a bit more nimble in the air, and her mobility in the air helps her from being such a sitting duck in the air. Like I said, we have hit scan weapons like McCree and Soldier 76 really easy to take her out. Just a few shots with McCree or a Helix rocket, or just a few rounds with the pulse rifle, and you can neutralize her. Or you can just be Genji and just fly and take her out. So, you know, she isn't a very difficult character to defeat. You know, she doesn't have armor or shields, and she's only got 200 in the health, which makes her one of the squishiest characters in the game. But she has that aerial mobility to sort of counterbalance that, and depending on your team composition, the enemy's team composition, but mostly the map and how you choose to navigate it is going to determine your survivability with Pharah and how you use her abilities. And the fact, I mean, if they choose to keep with this PTR change and allow her to no longer have the necessity to land in order to recharge any of her mobile options, that is definitely going to help her survive much longer. You know, when it comes to using Pharah, you want to keep yourself at a reasonable distance. You don't want to get chain hooked by a Roadhog, because you only get, you know, completely wiped out in there. I just, as a Pharah in the air already, I had nowhere to go. The ult, but we get the res from Mercy. Now we're cooking with lesbianism, because we all know about the Mercy Pharah combo and how potent that could be, keeping Pharah alive by getting that health stream on her or giving her the damage boost. And the fact that, you know, her rocket direct hit can do 120 damage can make her a very credible threat to many situations, but most of the time you're not going to be getting those direct hits. So to combat that, to give Pharah more damage, and this is the third possible change to her character, they're going to be increasing the minimum blast radius damage by 25%, because as it stands right now, I believe if you hit somebody on the furthest fringe of your explosion, the least amount of damage you could do with a rocket was 14%. So they're planning, if the change sticks, to increase that damage by 25%, just so she can do just a little bit more AoE, you know, a little bit more crowd control, be a little bit more of a threat. Because one of the great things about Pharah, and one of the reasons I select her as often as I do, is because it gives the enemy a different line of sight that they have to worry about. There aren't many characters that are going to be a threat in the air. Pharah is really the only one you have to worry about for more than a few seconds at a time. So that changes how they have to fight on the map or in a certain area, because if they're looking up, then they won't be able to defend themselves against a character on the ground, and vice versa. If they look on the ground, then they might be easy pickings if you're far shooting down from above and administering justice like you do. And that is a very, very useful and powerful thing. And one of those lucky times when you survive the Roadhog chain hook as a Pharah. Usually when you get chain hooked, you're probably still hovering, and you'll die before the Roadhog can even shoot you, because as you're coming along with that long chain, the enemy will shoot you up before their teammate even gets to. So those are the three changes that they're looking into right now for Pharah. No knockback on her primary fire, but her primary fire will do more damage in more minimum damage, and she's going to be more mobile in the air and no longer have the necessity to land. Now, as she stands right now, I feel like her strengths aren't too strong, and her weaknesses aren't too weak, to where she is a balanced character. And it's really nice to see a developer such as Blizzard, of which of course none of us are surprised about this support, and especially looking towards a highly competitive scene that started out strong, continues to grow, and will make a huge change when they unleash the Overwatch League. A balance is a key. You know, want to make sure characters aren't too strong, and you want to make sure some characters aren't too weak. So you have competitiveness, you have balance. You don't have a meta that completely dictates the way things are, which some people could argue is the case right now with the tank, triple tank, triple healer setup, no DPS, and Pharah is, one of those characters that you do not see on the competitive leagues out there. So maybe this change will give her maybe a niche role. I don't think she's going to be as useful as Reaper or as Reinhardt or as Lucio or characters like that we've seen time and time again. But if she has the ability to be more nimble in the air and survive longer, not having to land, then she kind of fulfills her role even more so. It doesn't make her, I think, too strong. Grant, the way that I see her right now, I don't see her as too strong or too weak for, you know, the casual play, even in the competitive season, where she's still one of my top 3 characters in the season that's going on right now. And, you know, she does combo fairly well with certain characters. If you have Mercy, that keeps you healed or damage boost, and it keeps the Mercy out of danger because she is also in the sky. And people might be targeting the Pharah first, even if they are looking up in the sky to get some kills. Also, her ult, while not the safest one in the world, it pairs well with May's frozen little enemies that she can get with her Blizzard. Or, of course, with the Zarya Graviton Surge, you can get some really good kills. And, you know, even if you just place it in the right spot at the right time, you can get a decent showing. Like as in most of the time, as we've all experienced, both being Pharah and fighting Pharah, they typically don't get to finish their entire ult. But if you pick your places, or if you have a Zarya that you're communicating with, you know, I'm about to, you know, I'm in the air, I'm about to ult, give me the bubble. You know, that can be a very potent combo as well, even without the Graviton Surge in that aspect. But so she pairs well with her ult, with just being nimble and being in the air, giving the enemy a different look. She's a character that I will sometimes switch to if we have a Reinhardt that's really giving us trouble, because you can just fly above him and shoot down below. And even if he, you know, raises his shield to protect from Justice raining, he is going to be vulnerable to the rest of your teammates that will be shooting him on the ground. So sometimes if they're moving the payload too much, or if we can't get the payload moving because of the Reinhardt, or if he's holding, you know, a position, or just being an annoying Reinhardt and just living too long, sometimes I will switch to Pharah, depending on the map. She's not great in some maps as she is with others. This is one of my favorite maps to use her on. She doesn't have any like terrible matchups, but there are just some that are just way better than others. And there are some maps where she's only good in a certain portion of the map, or only for short periods of time. One of the main problems that I see enemy Pharahs doing is that while Pharah is a great character to pull aggro because people see her as an easy target alone in the air, and the fact that she can do decent damage, to which, you know, maybe your enemies will be annoyed with and, you know, try to focus fire on her, so she can pull aggro fairly well. Sometimes I've seen, oh, there we go, another triple, and then we take care of the Diva mech as well, but then we die once again to a Junkrat, but we get rezzed again by the girlfriend Mercy. So, like I said, one of the things that, while she's great at pulling aggro, I feel like some Pharahs do it too often. They don't retreat. They don't try to reset the opponent's attention back down to the ground. They'll be like, oh, my jump packs are ready again. I'm going to use them and you know, pull aggro again. That sometimes isn't the greatest thing to do, because they'll be waiting for that. You know, they're annoyed by you. They're trying to single you out, especially with characters with hit scan weapons that are decent at range to take you out in the air. Sometimes you just need to take cover. Sometimes you need to, you know, move around the map so that they aren't looking for you to pop up over that barrier or that wall again. So sometimes Pharahs can just get a little bit ahead of themselves. And obviously, you use Concussive Blast as you would, especially on maps that can get you those environmental kills. And if you get a double kill to environmental kill, we know you'll get play of the game. Doesn't matter if you're Pharah or Lucio or, you know, Roadhog. And we got quite a few here. I believe that was our 4th one. And, you know, she can be very, very useful if your teammates aren't looking to avoid that, because all you have to do is hit them at the right angle if they're in the right spot, and that can be guaranteed kills on most characters. Obviously, there's some characters like Genji who could strike out or climb the wall, or Mercy who can fly to safety if there's an opponent nearby, or a Diva, you know, can jump pack if her thrusters haven't been fully depleted. But, you know, for the most part, that can be very, very useful. And if not, knock your opponent into a corner and, try to isolate them, but sometimes they'll just chain hook and isolate you and then ult your teammates as well. So things aren't looking too particularly well here in the 4th round, and as you can see with the amount of time left in the video, we will not be pulling out this victory. But nonetheless, I like Pharah, and I think she's not maybe one of the better characters, because we don't see her in MLG competitive almost at all. But when it comes to your layman, your quick plays, and playing the pugs online, she can do some pretty good damage if you're accurate enough, if you don't put yourself in harm's way too often, and if you work well with the team, which is of course a hallmark of being good with any character, is being able to synergize well with your team, doing the right things at the right time in the right places. But sometimes, as we all know, playing online, when you're not with a full team of people that you know and can communicate with, things can go wrong when you get bad luck of the draw, and you can't control everything, unfortunately, especially when there's an enemy mercy that is reviving people that you knocked out, and then you get revived, but then you're in a bad spot, so you jump jet, and then you get another ult out, and you get knocked out by D.Va for, I think that was the 3rd time in this game. So that's going to be it for this game with Pharah. Let me know what you all think about the public test realm changes that are being looked into for Pharah. Do you feel like she's too strong? Do you feel like she's too weak? Do you think these changes will be better for her utilization in more teams and more situations, and just seeing more of her as we get play of the match here with, I believe, that quad feed in the 1st round? Yes, we do. We get the environmental kill on an ulting Roadhog, which is good enough as it is, but then we get the triple feed with the ult. So yeah, final score here is 41 kills, 26 objective kills. We did a decent amount of time on the objective. I believe we get a bronze, and 17 deaths and the most damage as well, as I was here cooking with my lesbian partner in crime, Mercy, doing what we do, but we can only do so much with a team of Brandon. So that's it for the video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.